Hey everybody, it's Peter from Brantford Kia and welcome to our live video series. Now those of you that joined us earlier today, we did throw in an extra video at 10 o'clock this morning just because I had to cover a video before it went out the door. We are back to our regular schedule of 2 o'clock. And if you're just joining us and you're not live with us, feel free to skip to the 3-minute mark. That's when we're going to get going for sure on the video. Right now, we're just going to let our live audience build for a couple minutes. But if you want to stay with us, I'll tell you how to join us live every weekday. I'm excited about this car behind me, and more so than I thought I would be. This is been one of the, I always try to do a little bit of research on these videos, and this has been one of the most interesting videos that I've had to research because I didn't think I'd like that car. But now I kind of think I do. So we're going to talk about that in a second. That is the 2020, so brand new Kia Niro EV EX. This is a compliance car. This car was built simply so that the government could give discounts. We'll talk about that in a couple minutes. But first of all, let me show you how to join us. If you want to join us live, we're going to flip the camera around here. I'm going to go over to my little laptop here. All right, so if you want to join us live, just head over to YouTube. Sometimes these videos are embedded in other videos, so if you're watching it embedded somewhere else, just head over to YouTube, search in the search bar right up top there for Brantford Kia. This is kind of what we look like, at least what we look like today. And we're going to refresh the page exactly at 2 o'clock, which is what we're doing right now. And one of two things will happen. Sometimes you'll see the little Live Now video tab right here, which is what we've got today. If you don't see that, in this videos tab right here, you click that videos tab, that'll be the first video at 2 o'clock. You'll see a Live Now. Just click that Live Now tab, you'll join us. You can see some comments in here. Oh, wait, we're gonna watch an ad first. He's guaranteeing that we're not gonna lose money. This sounds fantastic. Let's skip that ad. Okay, all right, there we go. Here's the comment section. I'm gonna pull that in there. We've got already an EV owner on there, a Niro EV owner. She says this is her favorite car. Well, we're gonna find out because this is not the same car you have. This is the EX model. So we're gonna talk about that in 1 minute from now. Let's say real quick news. I've been on vacation, so when I got back from vacation, a whole bunch of things were here. We had the 2021 Kia Telluride Night Sky Edition show up. So I did a quick video of that this morning because it's already left the dealership and I wanted to make sure I had something on video before the next one shows up. I apologize for not for being on vacation when it showed up and not getting a better video. This one here is interesting to me. So this car also showed up. We've got at least one of these here. I think we have 2 of them on order. I haven't really spoken to any of the management team since I got back from vacation. I'm just back today, then we got a long weekend coming up. So we've got a lot of PHEVs that showed up. There's one out there, there's 2 out there. Niro plug-in hybrids are right there. We happen to have a Tesla right now. So there are cars here. If you're EV-related person, we're one of the leading EV dealers in Canada. So if you want to talk EVs, we've got it. But several of them have showed up, and we've got several on order. All right, so here's the thing with EVs. We tend to have less people live, but we have good viewing on them as we move on. So bear with me on the questions. We're going to try to stay on topic on these ones because I want to stick with the EV people that really want to see this car. This is a pretty rare car. And again, I could have bought this car myself, but chose not to, and I went with another EV. So what are we talking about? All right, let's go through the basics. Real quick history lesson. First of all, if you're just joining us, we're going to spend a half an hour going through this. So grab yourself a beverage, grab yourself coffee, whatever else that you need. There's a lot to talk about here and kind of interesting things. So this particular car was never planned for Canada. Kia Canada may tell you something different, but deep down inside, they'll have to admit, they never planned to bring this car to Canada. What we did at Brantford Kia, we were one of the first dealerships to sell Kia Niro EVs. We pre-sold more than anybody else in the country. And we had all these people that were ordering their cars, and one day we woke up and the website has changed and it said the price of the Kia Niro EV was going to be $44,995. And we're like, well, wait a minute, that's a little less expensive than what they were telling us about. So what was the story? Well, the reality was the Canadian government came out with a plan where if you have a vehicle, an electric vehicle that starts under $45,000, every vehicle in that lineup, so every previous up to I think $55,000, I'll double check the top end, but the point is you had to have an EV that started under $45,000, and then every trim line of that vehicle moving up could be eligible for a $5,000 discount. We didn't hit that with the SX Niro. So what was going to happen was the Kia Soul EV, which was coming down the road, it was going to be compliant because it had a lower price point on the lower range model. But they don't have a lower range Niro, So what they had to do is de-trim this one. So basically they sat down on paperwork, and I basically built a car that was going to come in at under $45,000. And that's what this one does, $44,995. And that made this car eligible for a $5,000 discount, but it also made the more expensive Niro, the one they had already planned to bring to Canada, eligible for the $5,000 government rebate as well. So literally this car did not exist. They scratched it out on paper, cut some costs, and there are a lot of cost cutting here to think about. So before I go into what's cost cutted here, yes, we did do twice today. Before I go into what kind of cost cutting measures they went into, I want to point out there are a lot of cost cutting features here, but I really like this car more than I thought I would. So let me just go through. This is going to sound like it's a terrible car, and then we're going to build it back up as we go. All right, here's my list here. This is just some of the things. Excuse the glare on the screen. Maybe I can fix that for you a little bit. We'll go this way here. There we go. All right, I just copied and pasted from Kia's website. There are 40 different things they cut from this car, and in fact, that actually is not the full list. This is just Kia's website. So basically, they started cutting a lot of safety features. Blind spot detection. Anything I list here is not on this car. No blind spot detection, no lane keep assist, no lane follow assist, no driver attention alert, forward collision avoidance assist, no front parking sensors, no rear parking sensors, no rear cross traffic alert. Those are all safety features. No heat pump and no battery heating system. Now heat pump, not the end of the world. I can deal with that. No battery heating system. We're going to talk about that as we go through here. No 10.25 inch display screen, no navigation, no Harman Kardon system, no wireless phone charger, 110 volt outlet, no smart cruise control, which also means no smart regeneration, no auto dimming rear view mirror, no LED interior lights, no ambient mood lighting, no leather seats, no 8-way adjustable power seats, no lumbar support or adjustable power lumbar support, no lumbar support really, no driver's seat memory, no driver's seat back pocket, no heated front seats, no heated rear seats, no air-cooled front seats, no heated steering wheel, no leather-wrapped steering wheel, alloy pedals, cargo nets, lots of stuff here, high gloss trim, scuff plates, no LED headlights, no LED rear lights, no Aeroblade wipers, no sunroof, no chrome door handles, no chrome molding, no splash guards. There's a lot that's not here. But we're going to go through what is here, because there's a lot here still, and you're going to have to decide to do what I did or not. So basically what I'm saying is, if all of those features sound pretty cool, those are just the features that are on the EV Soul that EV Niro that we traditionally sell. It's a very, very well-equipped car. And here's the thing. If you're going to spend this much money on a car, in my mind, you expect a certain amount of features. However, a lot of EV buyers start with range as their primary buying consideration. And if you're talking about range, this car is excellent. It's rated at 385 kilometers of range. You're going to see that this car sitting here has well over 450 kilometers of range. And that means it's a real-world gas replacement car. Now, it's still not cheap. Even with that $5,000 discount, it's $44,995. And you're not really in Kia's wheelhouse. When you start spending that kind of money on a Kia, you should be able to get a whole bunch of safety features, a whole bunch of technology features, and you're going to give those up. So you may be able to make this car work for you, but you're going to have to accept that when somebody gets into your fairly expensive car, it's really under-equipped in some ways. Now, we're going to take a look at the outside in a minute, but we're going to hop inside first, and we're going to talk about that. I will say, I bought the Kia Soul EV, the short-range model. It's rated for 248 kilometers. It really gets me 300 in the summer, but it has most of the features that I just mentioned, and it actually costs less than this car. And the only thing I'm sacrificing is a little bit of range, which for me, that 300 kilometers of range, well over, like still over 200 in the winter, you still get. So yeah, so around 50,000 fully loaded with credit. Yeah, 50, we'll talk about pricing in a little bit, but let's just talk about the car first. All right, as we jump in here, a couple things you're going to notice. No chrome door handles. One other thing that you don't get is any choice in color. Just like the original Ford, you can have any color you want as long as it's black. Same thing here. Now, interestingly, you do still have roof rails. I'm a big kayaker. That is not standard on any Soul anymore for 2021. So that would be our current model year Soul. It's going to get a little confusing here because the 2020 Niro is the current Niro. The 2021 Soul is basically the current Soul. So we talk about that. You're going to be, basically I'm comparing apples to apples as far as years, even though the numbers are different. Now as we hop in here, you're going to see some good and some less good. Maybe it won't matter to you. Power windows, power locks, power mirrors, including folding mirrors. This is gloss black trim, looks a little different on the nicer, higher end mirrors. Excuse a little bit of dirt on here. We had the outside clean, but not the inside. You still have soft touch armrests here, so that's kind of nice. The cloth seats, I kind of prefer cloth seats anyway, so this isn't a real loss for me, and they look pretty sharp. I'm a big fan of the white piping, which was standard on the 2019 Niro EV SX model, the top line model. This still has white piping, but this is a cloth seat with a nice little bit of pattern to it, and it's a false leather here, so synthetic leather. They look kind of sharp. So again, I haven't really seen this video, haven't seen this car, excuse me, and that's why I haven't done a video on it. I was expecting less. Now, you'll notice over here, whole bunch of blanked out switches. That's a lot of your safety features that are not on this car. That doesn't make this an unsafe car, but it doesn't have the real technology safety features that you would expect at a car in this price point, especially from Kia. All right, jumping in here, the 2019 Niro had an 8-inch screen. The 2020 Niro has a 10.25-inch screen unless you get this EX model. So you're not really losing compared to the 2019 model. But as we turn the car on, it is a push-button start. So we turned it on right there. Oops, you know what I need? The key. You are my regulars. You're supposed to warn me about that. All right. Which vehicles apply to each credit? So basically, every EV we sell gets a $5,000 government credit right now. That is going to change. The PHEVs are $2,500. That fund will run out. And let's be very honest, with all this COVID stuff, I don't know how much government's money is going to be available for EVs. None of them get $7,500 credit. It's $5,000 in Ontario here. Well, from the national government, there's no provincial setting, so, or no provincial thing. So $5,000 from the federal government. All right, let's jump in here for a second. Again, we'll do it with the key. Once again, it does have a push button start. And as we turn it on, you will see this screen here. Now that is the 8-inch screen. We've had this in the Kia Stinger. So in a lot of ways, that's a top line screen for some people. It's just not anymore. Yes, Quebec and BC are the only provincial credits right now. That's correct. And again, this is current as of this minute of doing this video. So this 8-inch screen is good. What's nice about it, you have some modern software. This used to be a 50-50 split. You do get navigation on the SX model. You do not get that here. But again, with Android Auto and Apple CarPlay, you can bring navigation from your cell phone through. So I'm not sure that that's a total loss right now. You'll see range. Let's talk about range. It says 260 right now. That means nothing to you unless we hit this button right over here, which is the EV button right here. Yes, Ontario used to have a bigger credit for EVs than they do now. Once we've had this generation of vehicles, they don't have that anymore. All right, so we're hitting that button. We're going to hit this button here. Here's how we tell what the car would be full. 469 kilometers of range right now. Now, you got a couple things working for you here. This is a lighter vehicle than the SX model. So 450 is common. We have people in the SX model getting 500 kilometers or more out of their Niro EV. In theory, this car is capable of doing that, but you don't have that battery warming technology. That battery warming technology is going to help you with the, yeah, there we go, 511 on one of our buyers right now. So they're 511 on her EV right now. We have people regularly over 500 in the Niro SX. This car is lighter. In theory, it's possible it could end up with even more range than that. However, without that battery warming technology, you do run, you're losing the most modern technology. So the most modern technology is going to help you with battery longevity. It is going to help you with winter range as well. You're going to lose more winter range in this vehicle than you will in the SX, the top of the line Niro EV. So over here, we got 260, 261, it was just that. So there's a nice screen there. I'm late, says unknown. Hey, it's okay to join us. All right, down here, you have some nice features here. Now, again, not a leather-wrapped steering wheel because it's not a heated steering wheel, not powered seats, any of that stuff. You still have automatic headlights, which you can see right there on, and you have fog lights, which kind of is one thing that sort of surprised me. You still have those as well. You have cruise control, but not smart cruise control, so that's fine. Steering wheel controls for your audio and your cell phone, typical stuff. And the steering wheel looks fine. I don't mind that they're not leather, but again, for this price of vehicle, there aren't many vehicles, there are no vehicles in the Kia lineup that aren't going to have a leather-wrapped steering wheel with heated steering wheel. So you're stepping down, you're losing that. Interestingly, down here, the climate system is still an automatic climate control system. Now, I will say that a lot of these climate systems are part of that technology that works with the EVs. They work with that range technology to get you that range. So you still have a single zone automatic climate control. Not a dual zone, but that's okay. I'm going to turn it off for now just so it doesn't blow in there. You have a place to stick your cell phone, but it's not wireless cell phone charging, which again is something you might expect at this price range. So you are sacrificing features for range, and we're going to talk about why that may or may not make sense closer to the end of this video, another 10 minutes or so from now, because that's my ownership experience and a lot of our EV owners' experience. We need to talk about that range as we go through things. Down here, Kia EV stuff, typical space down there. More buttons missing here. What's missing there? What's missing here? Actually, this is just your parking brake area, but heated and ventilated seats not available in this car. So no heated seats, which is pretty rare for a Kia. Just about everything we sell has heated seats. I think everything we sell has heated seats in Canada. Gear shift here, same type of thing. Down here, you have your little cup holders that fold in and out. Actually, if you want to watch that right there, that holds, so you can fold the other one in like that. Hit this button here. They come out almost instantly. Kind of a cool system there. Piano black trim across the front here. You can see that's really reflecting well on the camera especially, but just sort of a metallic plastic look. It's definitely a plastic look. It is not a metallic look, but it is a gray plastic look there. It may not bother you at all. Again, one nice touch is those are soft touch door handles here. Here's the seats here. Whoops, I just hit my elbow on the power window. All right. Going across the back seats, same thing there. You do have an armrest there as well. We'll talk about that in a minute. So one thing I want to point out is while I'm in this car, it is very, very comfortable. Let me just throw you across here. I've got a lot of headroom. The seat, although not really nearly as adjustable as a powered seat would, is still height adjustable here. You can bring it up or down manually. The steering wheel is tilt and telescopic, so you still have that. Getting comfortable in this car is not hard, which is why I say 40 plus features are gone, but it's kind of comfortable. And again, if range is the only thing that matters, and maybe that shouldn't be, we'll talk about that in a second, but if range is the only thing that matters, this is pretty nice. It's pretty comfortable. It's just that price point versus features may be something you're thinking about. So let's jump out of here for a second. One thing I want to point out before we do that, UVO intelligence is still available in this car. On an EV, that's kind of a nice feature. You can tell from your cell phone where your charge is at, where your car is at, what you need to do for, you can control some of the charge. It is kind of a nice feature to have. It's a feature they could have cut out of this car, I think, but they didn't, and that's good. So jumping out here, we're going to talk up front. Actually, let's leave the car on because it is an EV. We don't have to worry about fuming anybody out of here. All right, we're going to turn the headlights full on. Let's take a look at the outside. Again, the Niro EV, traditionally, the SX model, has chrome door handles there and a chrome trim down here. Those are black painted handles there, and a just a sort of a rubbery style, plasticky style black trim line down there. No mud flaps on there, same wheels. The car looks pretty good from the front. You do have halogen headlights. You'll see a little more yellow light there. Halogen fog lights are still standard on the SX Niro. But you still have those LED daytime running lights, and they look pretty sharp. So if your headlights are off, you're just gonna see these little daytime running lights on. The car looks basically the same coming down the road. You don't have that little radar plate down there. That means no smart cruise control, no smart regeneration. You still have regeneration that can change with your drive mode. And you have those paddle shifters, which can adjust your regeneration as well. You still have signal lights in the mirrors. Like I mentioned, you still have those roof racks as well. And it's a good looking car. It just, you know, for the average person, they wouldn't be able to tell the whole lot of difference between this and the regular Niro EV. Come along the back though, no more LED lights back here. So you have LED lights for the SX, you don't have LED lights here. You still have a little bit of trim, that EV color trim that everybody seems to like, that color for EVs. I'm not sure why, but that's the color they've all seemed to have agreed upon. You still have an LED light as the center brake light. So, okay looking car, sharp looking car really. Still have the tinted windows in the back. And so when you get in this car, it feels comfortable, it feels nice. We're gonna take a look at the trunk right now, because that's another feature where they could have cut a little bit more out here. They did cut a luggage net out and the cargo cover, but you can see my friend Teddy Bear is pretty comfortable. Why do I stick a teddy bear in the trunk? Well, those of you that know, I could fill the screen with this square area, and you really can't compare, but if you compare any of my videos, especially my live videos, Teddy Bear is the same teddy bear in all the videos, at least until somebody steals them or until I forget them in a car. It's pretty good space. You can see there, the Niro's got good trunk space. As we pull him out for a second, Teddy, you missed him. Yeah, Teddy survived without me for a week. Underneath the floor here, first of all, you still have the tie downs here. They're sort of the chrome tie downs, a little higher class than anything else in the car. There's not a lot of else chrome in there, but obviously the same back end here. And you still have underfloor storage here and underfloor storage there. So decent amount of space there. No LED lighting here, which this would be an LED light in the SX model, but you still have LED lights, or still have the halogen lighting, or just the regular lighting in there. So good sized trunk. You can fold the seats down. You can see the headrests are all adjustable, 3 headrests that are adjustable. Looks like that undercargo can hide a tonneau cover. It can, it just doesn't come with a tonneau cover. So on your EV right now, you can stick your tonneau cover right underneath there. If you have an SX model, it comes with a tonneau cover. This one, again, is a compliance car. They built it to comply with that government mandate to get everybody the discount who drives a Niro EV in Canada, but it does not have that cargo cover standard. So there we go. All right, we're 20 minutes in. I'm just going to jump to your questions if you have any. And if you don't, I'm going to talk a little bit more about why you may want to choose this car or why you should consider the Kia Soul EV with a little bit less range. A lot of people get stuck on saying, I need a certain amount of range before I'll buy an EV, and that may be keeping them from buying the best car of their lives. All right, let me just see if there's any questions here. Okay, most of our regulars on here, so not too many new people questioning. If you are new with us, if you've never commented, feel free to jump in. Our regulars like to comment, but that just shows you that you can. If you have questions, feel free to ask them. And if you're not watching live, just ask me in the comments below. All right, we'll talk pricing in a minute. We'll talk about other stuff. So yeah, we started the video off with the 40 or so things that do not have, are not on this car that are on most cars. One thing I want to say real quick. If this government discount goes away, this car may go away as well. That's just my opinion. I haven't been told that by Kia. But like I said, they never plan to sell it. It really isn't in line with a car that Kia sells. We're pretty much doing lane follow assist, lane keep assist in every car at this level. Blind spot detection is standard on every Kia Seltos. It's standard on every, like it should be standard on all the EVs except for this one. They took some of those features out. So if you want range, this is your car. Before I go on, 21 of you are watching now. 8 people have given me a like on this video. If you're sticking around for a little bit, do me a favor, hit the like button. You guys know how YouTube works. It helps both our YouTube stuff. It also helps with my bosses seeing that we've got some engagement. So 21 of you on, 8 of you are, oh, we got one more like, so I feel like that was worthwhile saying. Also, if I can earn your subscription, we got a lot of EV stuff coming up. That would be great. A lot more videos planned. We're gonna vary some stuff up here in September. All right, does the Niro have a privacy screen that comes with it? Is designed to roll up and fit in the Niro can, but it depends on your trim level of Niro. So we'll talk about that in a second. Now, real quick, before we get to that half-hour mark, I want to honor everybody's time. Why did I buy a Soul EV over the Niro that I could have bought this one? Well, a couple things. One, in most cases, this car is a vehicle you have to order and you have to wait for. It is not the traditional Niro that we stock. They did spec this out specifically to meet government requirements to give all Niro EV buyers a government discount. The other thing is, because you spend this much money, once you spend over that $40,000 mark, the Kia Soul, let's just show you what I'm talking about price-wise here. Kia Niro, we're looking at. SX Touring is $54,495. You do get the $5,000 discount. This car, because it comes in under $45,000, both of these cars here, both left and right, are eligible for that government discount. Now, the Kia Soul, you can have for $42,895 or $42,595 was a 2020 model, a few $100 difference in the car. That's the car I bought, and I also got the $5,000 federal rebate on that. I bought it because it, frankly, there's no way around saying it. The Kia Soul EV is at any range is a better car than this EX Niro EV. It has way more features. It just gives up some range. And for me, so range is something you pay for when you buy the car. It's that battery pack sitting underneath the car. If you think about a gas vehicle, goes about 500 kilometers on a tank of gas. Let's call this one, I mean, we just have one of our commenters on here. Her car is going 500 kilometers on a charge. If your car's got a full tank of gas, do you need to fill up that same day? And in most people's cases, the answer is no. They can go a couple days before they need to fill up. Many can go almost a week before they can fill up. So one thing to keep in mind is a lot of our driving with an EV of 250 kilometers range, 248 kilometers range, which is what my EV Soul is rated for. It gets more than that. That is plenty to get me through an entire day, several days, in some cases a week, But that is all the range I need. And I can leave my house every single day with that full range. And I didn't have to buy all of that extra battery that I really don't need. You know, if you're buying all that extra battery for those 2 trips a year, why not just plan a little bit different trip or plan to charge on that trip? My parents take this car to Florida every year. It's changed the way they're driving because they have to charge. You can get 80% charge in about an hour and 15 minutes on this car. So you can really put a lot of charge back in. And keep in mind, if you're getting that 500 kilometers that some of our customers are getting, 80% charge is what? Is 400 kilometers. So you're putting a lot of charge back in these cars if you're getting that kind of mileage. Now again, they're rated for 385 kilometers. So we'll stick with the rated. In the winter, they're going to get less. In the winter, this car is going to get less than the other ones because it doesn't have some of the same heat technology and the battery warming technology. But that is one thing to consider. For me, once I get up to a certain price point, I want to have a certain amount of features. And I chose features over range. A lot of people shop on it for an EV only range, and they won't buy it until they have a certain amount of range. And they spend 5 more years, 7 more years, 10 more years driving a gas vehicle around, which actually ends up costing them more in the long run. My Soul EV is loaded with features. It is the best car I've ever had features-wise. It's also, because it's an EV, the best car I've ever had, period. And I wouldn't trade it for more range. I wouldn't trade all those safety features, all those luxury features for more range. So that's why I went with the Soul EV, and it's cheaper. You get more features for less money. You get better headlights, better safety features, I have power seats, I have all kinds of things. I have a bigger screen, I have factory navigation, I have all kinds of things. So for me, it made more sense to go with the Kia Soul EV, have all those features, and the odd time where I need a charging station, I just stop at a charging station. Now that being said, I almost never use charging stations. I always charge from home, and I have all the range I need leaving my home for all of my daily driving. If range is your only priority, this can become a great car as long as you expect that anybody who sits in this car and they ask you how much it costs, they're going to be surprised at the lack of features. You're going to have that automatic climate control, you're going to have the nice big 8-inch screen, but you're not going to have the 10.25. So you have to decide if that makes sense to you. You're going to lose some of those luxury features that you would expect in a car of this price. That being said, now that I've finally seen this car, now that I've sat in this car, I'm quite impressed with it. Purely from a comfort point of view, it's comfortable. It doesn't feel like you're missing 40 or more features, except when you start looking around, digging around. Just sitting in the car, going to the grocery store, you don't realize what you're missing. That being said, you start digging around some of the tech, some of the other stuff, and those safety features. Those safety features, the automatic collision avoidance systems. My car, not only the blind spot detection, it has blind spot collision avoidance. Those are features that I think are really worthwhile to me in a modern car that is capable of having them. You're not going to get them here. So range-wise, you can't beat range for dollars on this car. That being said, you have to make decisions about what you want, and you may have to wait, and you may be told that car's not available anymore. There's possible that they will stop making as many of these, and you will only have so many brought to Canada, and they will not be able to get them anymore for you. So there we go. Let me just jump to your questions. Looks like there's a few people asking some questions to some of our EV owners here. How do the base trims of the Forte have heated seats, but this $44,000 does not? Okay, so that was my point. Base Forte heated seats, this one does not. They made this car to hit a price point because if this car was priced under $45,000 Canadian, the Canadian government will give this car and every Niro above it to a certain price point. So in our case, every Niro will get that $5,000 discount. So because this car was made, the Niro SX, the one we sell most of here at Brantford Kia, gets more or gets that $5,000 discount. So they took a lot of features out to hit a price point so that this car and the other Niro get that $5,000 discount. Lack of safety features also affect your insurance rates. Yeah, so insurance rates could be higher with a lack of safety features. Again, it's very safe. So let's talk safety real quickly. Crash safety, this is going to be a same car once you get in a crash. But safety nowadays is not about crash safety. Almost every car crashes fairly well. Kias crash exceptionally well. Collision avoidance is the big thing in safety right now. And this car really doesn't have the features you would expect in a $25,000 Kia, and it's a $45,000 Kia. So those are just decisions you have to make. We always talk about this Niro EV, we talk about the SX model because that's the car that really fits our lineup. That's what most people can get and should get. That being said, this one does exist. So you guys are talking to one of our people. Let me just see if there's any questions there. All right. Metric, okay. Going a long trip, probably stopping, stretch your legs or fuel. It's probably a 30, 45-minute stop. Plug it into fast charger, yeah, do your thing. So yeah, fast charging really changes. So the other thing is people talk about range anxiety. When range anxiety was a term that people used on a regular basis, EVs went, like Kia had a class-leading EV of 179 kilometers of range, which really didn't get that on the highway. These cars we're seeing, even on highway speeds, 500 kilometers of range by some of our people. Certainly 425, 450, no big deal. So let's just call it 450. This car is sitting at 460 right now. We can drive 450 kilometers. So when you had 179 kilometers of range, basically you went 110 kilometers, you're looking for a charge station. A lot of our EV owners will drive for 3 hours on the highway. They'll do 300 kilometers. And they'll say, you know what, do you want to go an extra hour? Okay, we'll go the extra hour. We'll do 400 kilometers before we look for a charging station. That's the big difference with this amount of range, is you can really start considering, like range anxiety really isn't an issue for most of our EV, almost all of our EV buyers. I would say every EV buyer, we don't talk about range anxiety anymore. We understand what we're driving, and there we go. So yeah, 511 kilometers would be charged to 100%. I can answer that question for you. So that would be a 100% charge. A lot of us are charging 80% regularly now. That's best for battery longevity, although it's not a problem to charge to 100%. We just best practices. So there we go. There we go. So yeah, so again, if the only thing you want is range, this compliance car, this car that was created specifically to get you a discount, is better than I expected. I have to give it that. That being said, would I trade my 300 kilometer, which is rated for 248, would I trade my 300 kilometer Soul for this 460 kilometer Niro? I would not. I value those safety features. I really value the technology features. And the battery warming technology is going to allow me to have some of that longevity to the battery that in theory this car may be giving up. That's one of the reasons they have that battery warming technology. My car does not have a heat pump. That means that every time I run the heat, I'm running an electric heater. This car here does not have a heat pump either. The higher trim levels do, which means it can recapture regenerative braking. There we go. So somebody asked a question, something about Google Maps here. Wouldn't Google Maps show if it's plugged in? So Google Maps doesn't show if your car is plugged in. I'm not sure what you're asking. Google Maps has said they will show more charging stations. I think they do show some. A factory nav in my car does show charging stations, although I trust Google and some of the charging apps better than I trust the factory nav, but that's something to keep in mind. So we've shown this car. If there's anything somebody wants to see, we can show that to you. Again, this car outside looks great to me. Looks better than I expected. Looking up further, a comment about showing charging stations. Oh, okay, so that's what you guys are talking about. Okay. So yeah, I will say I like that this car has roof rails. I like that it looks like a small crossover. It really hasn't given away a whole lot of look. It has, but to most people's eye, it wasn't. You can lose some chrome trim, some other things. It looks the part. It does not have the LED lighting. I'm a massive fan of Kia's LED lighting, especially on my Kia Soul. Those Soul LED lights are fantastic. The Niros are excellent as well. That's something that I quite like, and at this price point, you can get in just about every other car in Kia. So that's something to consider. But yeah, very interesting car to me. It's still very comfortable. When I sat inside, I didn't feel like I was giving away anything. If you're just driving it every day as a regular car, you don't really feel like you're giving away anything either. But you have to remember, you could probably buy a couple Kia Fortes for the price of this car, give or take, not quite. But Kia Forte at $22,000 has a lot of features, and this car is going to be giving up some of those features. So there we go. I think we've covered that. If there's anybody else, yeah, Albert's saying I got a bunch of people watching 17 likes. I'm okay with 17 likes. We can go for some more. Niro doesn't have a heated front window, right? Yeah, so the Soul for 2021 does not have a heated front windshield. It never did in the higher trim. Only my Soul had the little grid lines that heated the front windshield. That was the 2020 Kia Soul. Low range model only, the premium. For whatever reason, it was on the premium. To be very honest, I think they forgot to click a checkbox to take that feature out of my car. It is now gone from all Souls. It's not the end of the world. It's just a feature that I thought was really cool. Niro's never had that, so no real difference there. Are you paying for the EV tech over a combustion engine? Yeah, so you are paying for EV. Here's the thing when you're buying an EV. So people ask me all the time, if I buy an EV, is it cheaper than buying a gas car? In most cases, I would say no. If you buy a car with this level of equipment, like really a $22,000 Ford or $22,000 Forte is going to be better equipped than this car in most cases. That being said, you are getting electric power. Now, you can't say that about my Kia Soul. My Kia Soul is a top-of-the-line Soul in every way, except for leather sunroof and the better stereo. I would prefer that in my car. I don't get that. But really, the only thing I miss out of that is this better stereo. I quite like the top-line stereo in these cars. So I get all the features in my car, and that's really the price I pay for that. So I'm not paying a ton extra for that EV powertrain. Now, this one, you're paying quite a bit for an EV powertrain, but you're not getting the features. So just an interesting car. Like I said, you can't blame Kia for this. They literally sat down at a scratch pad, sketched out which features they could get to get this car to a certain price, which gives all Niro EV buyers a discount, a $5,000 discount from the government. And that's why this car exists. Is it a good car? It's okay. Sitting in it, I quite like it. Like I said, if you really want to buy a great EV and range isn't your only priority, which is what we're finding with a lot of our EV buyers, is that they're very rarely using all of their range, which means they could have bought a vehicle with a little bit less range. The Soul is going to be the best value in my mind for an EV. You lose a little bit of range. You have more range than most people need at all ever in a day. But this is an interesting car that you can really replace a gasoline vehicle with today at a price that might be affordable, or certainly more affordable for you. So there we go. All right, I've got more likes than people watching, which means I've got people tuning out. I think that's enough for today. Like I said, if you have questions, ask me. We won't have these cars around for long. We're going to sell them. They are still a popular, desirable vehicle. When should I bring the Niro EV back to the checkup? Let's talk about that a little bit different. Let me just see if that makes sense. We'll talk about winter. When should I bring the new EV back for checkup? Just over a year ownership, 11,000 kilometers. Wait for winter tire changeovers. Yeah, so that's what I do. That's one thing I should mention if you're buying an EV. I recommend, these are Michelin tires on the Niro. There are Nexen on the Soul. Either way, they're not the best tires. They're great eco tires. They help with mileage efficiency. They're not the best in the winter, so I do recommend doing a swap over. That's going to do two things for you. If you swap your tires at the dealer, the one key maintenance thing is to check the brakes to make sure that they've been lubricated properly, to make sure that you have a brake service done. Technicians are used to operating on oil change schedule. They know they'll see you again soon. EVs can go a long time, so what I recommend is throw winter tires on. Do the swap over at your dealership. That means they know they're coming in twice a year, and then they can check the brakes to see if they need to be serviced. I would doubt that they would need a brake service at 11,000 kilometers. That would really surprise me. We see that typically after a year, 24,000 kilometers, that'd be a little bit better. So somebody asked if I'm here on Monday. No, we have a long weekend coming up. Saturday, Sunday, Monday, I'm off. I am back Tuesday. So thanks for that. I just had a vacation that I ended yesterday. I came back for one day and then another long weekend. So there we go. Let me just see if anybody else is on here. All right, I think that's what we got. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. And again, if you have questions about this car, feel free to ask me in the comments below. We try to be experts on these. I want to know what your questions are. Like I said, this car impressed me more than I thought it would from the driver's seat. That being said, I think there's a good reason to consider the Soul, but this may be right for you. If range matters more than anything else, and range and price in conjunction, this is an interesting car that is better than I thought it was going to be. And there we go. Thanks everyone for watching. We will see you again. Have a very healthy, happy, and safe long weekend. I'll be back here on Tuesday. We'll see you then.